On this channel, I have covered several Sonic fan games over the past few years. Sonic Chaos, Sonic 2 HD, Sonic Utopia, and although not a fan game, my favourite 2D platformer, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. To this day, in my opinion, it's still the best Sonic game out there, just beating out Sonic Mania due to its originality in its level themes, rather than reusing old ones. For years, I have wanted a true sequel. Not the rubbish that Sega gave us in Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, and although I love Sonic Mania, it felt like a celebration of classic Sonic rather than a continuation. The Sonic Chaos remake came close. Despite being based on an existing game, it had so much new and original ideas, it felt like a sequel. Sadly, that game is still in development, and as of this video, only has a short demo available. Then, in 2022, my search for a proper sequel to my all-time favourite 2D platformer came to an end, as out of nowhere, a remake of Sonic Triple Trouble, originally the sequel to Sonic Chaos, was remade in glorious 16-bit style. With multiple characters and different stories carrying directly on from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, along with some excellent upgrades to the gameplay, this is, in my opinion, the best sequel I could hope for. And once again, it's fan-made. This is Spotlight on Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit remake. The first thing you will notice with this remake is it's very much going for the style of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Whereas the Sonic Chaos remake in the works is more Mania inspired, and other Sonic fan games generally go for their own style, this one is clearly trying to be seen as a direct sequel to Sega's 1994 classic. Thankfully, the game deserves to be tied in with it thanks to its level of quality and polish. Story-wise, it kicks off directly after the end of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Sonic and Tails return the Master Emerald to Angel Island and still have the Chaos Emeralds in tow. They land and get attacked by Dr. Robotnik in what is left of his doomsday machine. They lose the Chaos Emeralds, and your adventure to recover them and stop the evil mustachioed villain begins. This time though, it's a little different from usual. One of my favourite mechanics this remake uses is that you can switch between Sonic and Tails at any time, something that Sega has only ever used in Sonic Advance 3. It's something I've wanted more Sonic games to do for years now, and a few mods have done it, but in this game it's the default, and is played into the gameplay itself. With Sonic you can do the usual spin dash, the super peel out from Sonic CD, and, what no new Sonic game can go without, the drop dash. Tails can of course fly, and like Sonic 3, he can also carry Sonic around with him. Although there's not really any benefit to doing this, as he more just gets in the way if you carry him around, and if he dies while controlling Tails, you won't lose any extra lives. Being able to switch between these two iconic characters though mixes up the gameplay and allows you to change your playstyle on the fly for all 6 zones. That's right, this fan game is actually finished. All zones from the original game and more have been reimagined in 16-bit style, with brand new unique special stages to boot. The game is polished, with a full soundtrack, a complete story across 17 acts, and a completion reward of getting a full story as Knuckles after finishing the game. This remake also has strong level design, with little to no confusing or frustrating areas. It also boasts unique set pieces and gimmicks, such as an amazing train chase act, mine carts through one of the zones, and even an underwater submarine section that changes up the traditional underwater zone present in most Sonic games. The amount of fun, design, and creativity on display throughout this remake is some of the strongest I've seen in any fan game, not just in the Sonic community. The only part I would say perhaps needs a little bit of tweaking is the final zone, where the difficulty suddenly shot through the roof, with a lot more pitfalls and tricky areas than the rest of the game. This may have just been that the levels were entirely new to me, but it did seem a little overkill. It might just be me being a baby though, and I'm sure on replays I won't struggle as much. The boss fights are also fun and creative throughout, with a good difficulty curve as the game goes on, and ending with some of the toughest boss fights in a Sonic game I have ever experienced. Overall, the level design and bosses, including their themes and set pieces, are a lot of fun to experience and go a step above Sonic 3 and Knuckles in terms of their scope. This helps to secure the game's position as a worthy sequel to that game by showing what could have been the next evolution in the franchise had this released for the original Mega Drive or Genesis. To be clear, it doesn't actually run on a Mega Drive, so I don't 100% know if it would run based on the same power. But there is nothing in the game that seems like it wouldn't. Except maybe the special stages, which perhaps may have needed the CD add-on. These new special stages have you running forward from a third-person perspective in a race against Knack to reach the Chaos Emerald. You have to juggle collecting rings in order to maintain your time, and collecting power orbs to increase your speed to beat Knack to the finish. They are overall fairly well-balanced levels, with a few hiccups in hit detection, but nothing major, and they are more difficult than any special zones in Sonic 3 or 2. You can retry them for as many extra lives that you have, but if you fail them and don't have lives left, the jig is up, and you don't seem to be able to reset them until you complete the game fully. Thankfully though, you can pick levels to find the rings again after completing the game, and then jump back to the final level to see the true final ending as Super Sonic and play through the game with the classic ability as well. Sadly, when I played this there was no super form for Knuckles or even special zones for him to play, but it's one of the very few things this fan game is missing, so I think it's a reasonable trade-off. Speaking of Super Sonic, the developer Noah Copeland has done something that I have wanted in a Sonic game since the 90s. Added the option to turn off Super Sonic's theme music and keep the level music. Such a glorious option that gets rid of the issue of endlessly hearing the same song for the whole game. The final boss as Super Sonic is great as well. I'd say it's my favourite in the whole franchise, while also being one of the most unique and difficult, containing multiple phases that increase in complexity as you progress. This very much helps to add to the feeling of this being a sequel, as the difficulty across the whole game is higher than anything in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. On top of the full story mode for Knuckles, which shows his side of the story fighting Metal Sonic and recovering the Master Emerald, you can also unlock Metal Sonic and Knack to play as in free mode, and in a more recent update, Amy was added as well. They don't have a story, but the option to play as 3 more unique characters for this fantastic game is a very welcome option. Finally, as with all Sonic games, the music must be mentioned as well. For me personally, none of the songs were quite as catchy or memorable as Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or the fantastic work of T-Lopes for Sonic Mania and the Sonic 2 HD remake. However, they are still fantastic renditions of both completely new tracks and tracks inspired by the original game. It thankfully doesn't fall into the trap that many fan games have over the years, or even official Sonic games have, of overusing the drum sound the Mega Drive sound chip was famous for, and instead creates songs that completely fit in with the rest of the 2D Sonic games. The final zone, especially, is fantastic, and probably my favourite in the game. So, catchy tunes, great level design, multiple characters, a ton of polish, a fun story, and overall, a complete Sonic game is what you're going to get if you play Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit remake. This is absolutely astounding work from a single developer who spent 5 to 6 years making a Sonic game they wanted to play, and thankfully, one I wanted to play as well. It's so good to see one of these Sonic fan remakes completely finished, ready for everyone to enjoy, and with such care and attention put into it to get the game right. I feel the developer Noah Copeland deserves as much praise as possible for even finishing it, let alone making a damn amazing Sonic game at the same time. If you have any interest in classic 2D Sonic, and like me always wanted a full sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, then look no further than Noah Copeland's Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit remake. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Phil, I'm the creator of the Pixel Tavern. I hope you enjoyed this video, and the fact that the audio is hopefully a lot better than last time. I want to say a big thank you to Noah Copeland, who at the time that I originally made this, helped me with some bugs I found in the game, and even taught me a little bit of save editing to help me get through the last Chaos Emerald. Make sure to check out their Twitter and follow them to keep up to date with any of their future projects, including a 16-bit remake of the Game Gear game Sonic Drift. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and click the bell icon to get notified of any of my future releases. Please also leave a comment with perhaps what Sonic game you would love to see a remake of. I'll be back soon with my next Zelda video, but in the meantime, till the next video everyone, thank you very much for watching.